old buddy, the Wii Zapper. Yes, we finally have another first-person shooter on the WII, and it's a W. Well, at least Call of Duty World at War takes place in the last days of World War II, so perhaps that's a good omen.
Why do they keep on doing this? Whoa, what was that? Call of Duty, whoa. Oh, I recommend the game just for that. I'm gonna have to apologize if this review seems a little rough around the edges. It's not really because of the Thanksgiving weekend, it's really because I discovered boom blocks again. 67%, that's just not enough! So after I made it go away, I picked up the Wii Zapper in Call of Duty 5 and got ready to kill me some Nazis. It asked me to make a profile name, so naturally I went with Big Boss. I believe it's important to note that this World War II shooter is rated M for mature, and it deserves that rating. Before starting a game, I was warned that there was graphic World War II footage, but really, how bad could it be?
Dude, not cool!
You start out the game as the US soldier, Private Miller. Your fellow soldiers come in and rescue you, and by the way, the game is obsessed with heroic rescues, and then you're off to fight the Japanese. You also get to play as Soviet soldier Dmitri. You have survived the massacre at Stalingrad, and soon you're gonna have your revenge against the Nazis. For the motherland! The Americans are portrayed as leaderless crybabies, while the Russians seem like the kind of people who would drink orphan blood as their morning coffee. These soldiers never actually meet, and their missions take place years apart, but whatever, I'll roll with it. I noticed that this game seems to be one big racial hate fest, but I really didn't know what to expect. Except for the Nintendo DS, I never really played number 4, or 3, or 2, or the original, so I constantly found myself comparing this game to Medal of Honor. That in itself is kind of funny because these two competing publishers are also deadlocked in the rhythm game war. Calm down, I'll get to these games soon enough. I was expecting to be blown away when I read that this game was running off the Call of Duty 4 engine, but then I recalled that you could put a Ford Mustang engine into a Geo Metro and it's still gonna look like crap. Well, the graphics are okay and the frame rate's tolerable. It has more colors than your average war game, and still I can't get a clear shot on these Japanese. At least in Heroes 2, the Nazis were a distinct color of gray. I talk about color a lot, but I want you to know that I understand that this is war, and war is supposed to be very grim. And if it gets too colorful, well, you're doing it wrong. Critiquing the audio in a game, there are a lot of things to cover. Now, when talking about World at War, I can just blanketly say that I don't like the audio. At any moment, there's 5 soldiers yelling, 2 of which are at you, and then there's all the enemies, and it really doesn't help that the Japanese are yelling, "Banzai!" I guess that's why all their cussing was therapeutic to me.
Outstanding!
Now that we've made it to controls, I can finally say something nice about the game. The Wiimote's IR camera was made for first-person shooters, so it was a delight to use the Wii Zapper. Okay, I ran out of nice things to say. Why is the plus button used to throw grenades? Everybody knows plus means pause. At one point in time, my phone rang and I accidentally betrayed my own army just because I wanted to halt the gameplay. Why can't I lean in this game? Seriously, nobody's gonna accuse you of copying Medal of Honor. I was already recognizing guns between the games and determining which ones to use based on the previous game. Defending yourself against a bayonet attack was one of the rare moments in Wii history where waggle worked better than pushing a button. That is until I tried capturing footage and then nothing worked. But it doesn't make the game unplayable. I guess just like Agent Smith, the controls will suffice. Speaking of controls, both Medal of Honor games were fine. In Far Cry Vengeance, the audio aiming was kinda screwy, but I could still shoot people. Metroid Prime 3 was perfect. And if you haven't figured it out by now, this is just a thinly veiled attack on Red Steel. Upon reflection, it's been a little over 2 years since we sent Ubisoft back to Europe and said, think about what you did. Still, I can't wait for Red Steel 2. The only thing that this game really brings to the genre is a flamethrower, which is just another terrible way to die. Although I can't deny that World at War really had some epic parts. Among all the running and gunning, one level really stood out. After the massacre at Stalingrad, an injured sniper was teaching you how to use his gun and pick off enemies intelligently, and the flow of the level changed depending on how well you sniped. It was truly cinematic. But later on, Jeff told me that was only because the level was taken straight from enemy at the gates. And then I had a full-blown hatred for Call of Duty World at War. Nail in coffin, the enemy's aims are unrealistically perfect. As the game was winding down, I was afraid to step out into the open for fear of getting sniped from a billion yards away. It's like these two warring factions got together for a couple months and said, you know what would really make Storm Dain angry? Making easy mode distastefully difficult. You can imagine how angry I was when I finally beat the game and accidentally skipped a cutscene when I set down the Wii Zapper and nudged the B button. It was then that I had a moment of clarity. Heroes 2 was full of wind just because the game doesn't take itself seriously. Your fellow soldiers sound like Legolas and Gimli when they're killing soldiers, and you got a funny little graphic every time you got a headshot. This guy might as well have a mohawk and a clown nose just because it fit the mood. I guess I should try multiplayer now. I figure if you've already eaten the turd sandwich, you might as well have the trimmings too. After one match, I learned, not to my surprise, I suck at it. But what's really interesting is every few minutes you hear, "Release the hound!" And then you get to shoot dogs. I'd be calling it screwed up if I didn't enjoy it so much. Plus, it's really easy to see yourself leveling up. I wanted to try another match, but Activision decided I had too much fun and denied my connection. Now, why are developers so stuck on World War II? I was able to think of a perfect premise for this genre while I was putting this review together. Wait.
They beat me to it. Touché, Nerf. Touché.